Just last year, we had the opportunity to drive the all-new Range Rover Sport in its plug-in hybrid format with the inline-6. And this year, with pretty much the exact same weather conditions as that, we have the top-of-the-line Range Rover Sport SV in its now, well, almost second-ish form here with the Edition 2. And for this latest generation version of the Range Rover SV lineup, the SV nameplate has really been put forward to be the ultimate expression of each model lineup. For the Range Rover, that is ultimate luxury with a little bit of power. For the Range Rover Sport, that means ultimate performance with still some luxury dashed in there. And this latest Range Rover Sport SV in the Edition 2 package really does exemplify that definition. So of course, in this snowy weather, we're gonna go in a full in-depth tour and review of this amazing SUV, why you might wanna consider this over a Cayenne Turbo GT or a Lamborghini Urus or an Aston Martin DBX or a Bentayga, as this thing really can be an ultimate on-road, on-track, and even in some cases, off-road vehicle. Let's go dive in. So folks, what do we have under the hood of this Range Rover Sport SV? Well, just like we just had in the Defender Octa, we have the quite powerful BMW sourced 4.4 liter twin turbocharged hot V 48 volt mild hybrid V8. And in this case, once again, it's making a wild 626 horsepower and around 553 pound-feet of torque. This is being sent through a 8-speed automatic gearbox, of course, to all four wheels. And unlike other JLR products, are a little bit more off-road focused, we only have a single-speed transfer case in this particular one, so it's always in high range. Now, of course, this thing is pretty wild. That 48 volt system is powering a lot of stuff in this vehicle, from the suspension to the anti-roll bars are all kind of electrically driven, and that also aids with your stop-start system, and it actually enables this car to somehow get around 22 mpg on the highway. Nonetheless, this over 5,500 pound SUV can still do 0 to 60 in around 3.6 seconds, reaching a top speed of around 180 miles per hour. And this engine bay is quite gorgeous. We have a carbon fiber engine cover over here hiding this incredible V8 engine. And in just a second, we're gonna go take a look at the wheel, tire, and suspension package on this vehicle to show the magic engineering that the SV and Range Rover team have done to make this wild SUV handle it really well. And also, have a look at this carbon fiber hood. That's epic. Okay, folks, joining me over here on the side of the Range Rover Sport SV, we got a lot to talk about. Off the bat, just like on the Defender Octa, we have the insane 6D Dynamics suspension system. And that essentially combines an air suspension system with these wild hydraulically interlinked suspension components. So there's no real anti-roll bars of the sorts on this particular vehicle. And in addition to that system, we also have rear wheel steering on this particular Range Rover Sport, and an entirely different rear subframe. So all of this is really meant to improve traction. It can do over a G in lateral grip as well, thanks to this new setup here. And we also have staggered tires. So we have around 285 with tires up front and around over 300 millimeter width tires out back. So that staggered setup is going to be helping to improve traction performance, especially since this all-wheel drive system on this particular Range Rover Sport SV can be really rear biased when it needs to for some more performance focused driving. On top of that, we also have probably some of the largest brakes I have ever seen fitted to a vehicle. These are over 17-inch carbon ceramic brakes up front over here with 8 piston calipers up front. Crazy stuff. And not only that, this SUV has carbon fiber wheels. These are 23-inch carbon fiber wheels on all 4 corners. Yeah, that's pretty nuts. And of course, in total, this helps to save around 80-ish pounds of unsprung weight. So you have a little bit quicker steering response. And speaking of steering response, this Range Rover Sport SV has a totally different steering system than every other Range Rover Sport. It has around a 13.6:1 steering ratio. That's really quick for an SUV of this size, and it's not too far off from what we saw in the Defender Octa. And in the same sense of that vehicle, you have a much quicker response and quicker front end. Even though the feel isn't too particularly there, the turn-in is really, really quick thanks to that quicker steering ratio. So this whole package overall really transforms the Range Rover Sport from almost the ground up to be a totally different vehicle dedicated to this on-road, on-track, and even in cases off-road performance. But I don't know if I'd be wanting to take in these carbon fiber wheels anywhere near an off-road trail. Now, of course, we have a Range Rover Sport, so we gotta talk design. And this is one area where I would say this latest generation of SV of the Sport isn't as bold as it can be, I think, in some design elements. But it's only until you start looking closer is when you really notice all of the crazier details. For example, this one in this Marl Grey paint finish, which isn't the best color choice I would say you can get for this vehicle, we still have an exposed gloss carbon fiber hood, and the hood itself is carbon fiber, but you can still see the carbon fiber up here. We got the carbon fiber trim over here and even on the side panels. And not only that, this one has a carbon fiber front grille surround. I would definitely take this car in a different color though. Otherwise, on the front end, it does typically look like a Range Rover Sport. We have the very familiar LED headlights up front over here, and the lower section down here. We have carbon fiber trim on these side vents, which are a little bit more aggressive, and we get a little bit more aggressive aerodynamics down here with some more carbon fiber trim. We got a front camera as well, of course, but again, design-wise up front, it's very understated, and it's really not showing off, I would say, in this particular spec, the wild power and performance that this car does offer. And the same can be said about the rear end of this Range Rover Sport SV. We have a very familiar Range Rover-esque design. Big differences here, we get a special SV badge out back, as well as down here, we're getting quad exhaust tips finished in, yes, you guessed it, carbon fiber. Again, you can make this car a little bit more wild through the configurator, and there's some more special editions coming out every year to get this particular Range Rover SV as more aggressive as you would like, but overall, it's still a very understated looking vehicle. Now, popping open our rear trunk area over here, of course, we have a button to open it, but of course, we can kick if we're holding our key fob. And just like a regular Range Rover Sport, we're getting quite a lot of storage space back here as well. You can fold down that second row of seats if you would like, and to unlock around 60-ish cubic feet of cargo space. Behind the second row, you still get quite a generous amount of cargo space as well. And if you need to lower the floor, you can actually just press these little buttons over here to raise or lower our air suspension system. It's already in its lowest height right now, but you can lower that if you need to make loading things in here easier. With these very beautiful metal scuff plates back here as well as a cargo cover on top of that. And of course, if you open up our floor panel over here, we're not going to find any sort of storage, but we do have a spare tire back here, which actually is pretty rare in a very high performance car. So that's actually nice. We still have that in here. At the end of the day, it is still a Range Rover. Someone's going to do something silly with this, maybe take it off-road, and it's always nice to have a spare tire back there if you do need. We also have some LED lighting back here as well. And of course, these seats are power adjustment to fold them down, which is a really nice feature. Now, of course, getting inside, lots of all these modern JLR products have pop-out door handles, and I love that you can just walk up and they pop up to you, or you can just press this little button here to activate them. But this has to be one of my favorite new interiors I have seen, and we were in the Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid last year, but this is somehow even nicer. Popping open the door here, one great thing already off the bat is that we have such a wide door angle opening to get in and out really easily. And the biggest thing about these interiors is the quality and craftsmanship. So off the bat here, check out how many door seals we have going on this interior. This is what makes this car so quiet inside, on top of this acoustically laminated glass on this interior. But in addition to that, this door panel is absolutely gorgeous. This is the rosewood and ebony, or red and black interior kind of theme here, and we have leather on this upper portion up here. This entire center portion over here is this gorgeous knit kind of speaker grille designed for our Meridian signature audio system. Then we have in this one carbon fiber trim across the centerpiece. We have seat controls with this really thick, high quality leather all the way down to the entire bottom portion of the door panel. And I love on the higher end JLR products, they have this gorgeous kind of galvanized style trim on their interiors. It's just a wonderful design. Even the inside of the door pockets are completely wrapped in leather. This is an awesome interior door panel design, and I love how the door handles themselves have this really deliciously nice thick weight to them. This is how you build an interior, guys. Okay folks, so hopping inside of the Range Rover Sport, A nice soft closed door over here as well. You can hear it pulling itself into you. And have a look at this wild cabin. So off the bat, let's talk about legroom. It's actually really big. The Range Rover and Range Rover Sport is really big already, and honestly, this is a really impressive space for rear passengers. I have so much legroom. I have so much foot space down here as well. This is just fantastic. Again, lots of storage on the side pockets over here, and I have my own seat controls to control my reclining seats in the rear seats. So these seats themselves are this gorgeous, almost bucket-like design here. We have different colors of leather as well, and even the seat belts themselves are covered in leather. This is all leather over here, and they have their own little seatbelt guide up here, which I think is just a wonderful, luxurious touch. And these seat backs do recline with power, so have a look at this. Move the seat all the way back like that, or pull it all the way up just like this. And the back of the seat is gorgeous as well. We have leather all the way up here, carbon fiber, more leather, but no storage back here to kind of shove stuff in, unfortunately. But I'd rather look at this gorgeous seat, and you get a little peek of the glowing SV badge in this particular seat as well. In the center console space over here, we have a fold-down armrest over here, which is actually very sturdy. It seems a little bit more sturdy than the one we had in the plug-in hybrid. And this is a metal trim piece over here, and you press this button over here to get your own center console storage, which is felt-lined, which is gorgeous. And then popping open the front piece here is you get 2 cup holders back here as well. And of course, all of this is wrapped in the gorgeous semi-aniline leather we have in this vehicle. And I love how the seat belts are actually illuminated around them at night. It's a really cool touch there. And in the center console over here, it only gets better. We have more of this carbon fiber trim over here, this gorgeous kind of nice galvanized style trim pieces around it. Everything is just so solid and high quality in this interior. It's just truly spectacular. And in the centerpiece over here, we have our whole climate system. So we have our own air vents back here. We have these really gorgeous climate control systems. I wish they still kept the climate systems that go up front. Those are gone, but we do have these really nice systems back here, so we can push and pull to change things like our heated and ventilated rear seats. So the 2 outboard seats are heated and ventilated out back, and I pull this button here, which is metal, to adjust my temperature and sync. Same thing goes for the other side as well. And coming down here, we also are getting 2 USB-C ports, as well as a 12-volt socket and a regular household style 110 volt out the back there for some charging accessories. This center portion over here has a little bit of a hump, which I can actually put my feet on here, but it does allow you to fit 3 people back here if you need to. And these outboard seats have plenty of actual space and are very wide, so you're not really going to be hampering your kind of seating capability in this Range Rover Sport, even though it is a wild track performance monster in this particular SV trim. And as you can see, the entire headliner is wrapped in this micro suede kind of Alcantara-like material, which feels so soft and squishy to the touch. And even our upper portion trim pieces up here are wrapped in metal. We have a leather hand pull right here with these metal hardware accents on the side, and we have a nice illuminated light here that you can actually activate by pressing this little touch button right here on the side to turn on. And we have a coat hook as well, a little bit of a nice vent up here for you, so you have a lot of vents in this vehicle, and everything just has this nice heavy luxurious premium weight to it. Even this little pull right here to adjust your fan direction has this nice weighting to it. Okay, folks, let's go hop up front now in our Range Rover Sport SV Edition 2. Again, walking up to the vehicle, our door handles present themselves as well. We have the same soft close function we have on the front doors as we do out back, and the same insanely high quality door panels, door cards, and everything as we do in the rear. Only difference up here is we're getting an additional Meridian signature speaker on our upper portion of the door panel here. And this one is getting aluminum side sills that say the SV Edition 2 in here, of course, illuminated. And these seats are even more comfortable, obviously, than the rear. And I love how Range Rover seats go all the way down to this lower portion down here. They have this nice thick, chunky, kind of single frame design, which I think is really cool and very luxurious looking. And you know, this car doesn't hamper out on practicality, as you still have a floating center console. And of course, in SV fashion, it's wrapped in leather. Once again, all this whole centerpiece is wrapped in leather. We have a USB-C port down here as well. You can kind of shove stuff in there if you would like, which is a really wonderful touch. We also, of course, have our soft closed doors up front here. That pulls closed really nicely, and let's power on this beast. So starting up our Range Rover Sport SV Edition 2, we have our start-stop switch right in the center console over here, so let's push that. But there's a little trick here, so if you put it into power mode, so just press it on once, then you press the SV badge, it will actually do a sort of like a motion start. So if I press this now, we'll have a little bit of a rev. So what is going on in this interior, guys? Well, it is just straight up gorgeous. Let's get all the functional stuff out of the way first, and I want to talk about the quality in here. Every material is gorgeous. Leather steering wheel. We have this two-tone leather steering wheel with this contrast black stitching here. Again, I love this kind of galvanized trim around this. We have a stitched leather airbag cover as well. And how can I forget the glowing paddle shifters, which is one of the coolest touches that, of course, are huge, and metal on the lower portion as well. So that's never going to be a poor place to touch in this vehicle. Even this lower section over here on this left side is all leather wrapped. This nice, gorgeous kind of galvanized metal trim here. And your whole upper portion of the dash is leather surrounding our Meridian signature speakers up there and our heads-up display. And I love the floating style digital cluster Range Rovers specifically have versus the different ones in the other JLR products. It also has a unique skin to it as well on the software side, which you can't get on those other vehicles. So a lot of unique touches here. And again, even this lower piece down here seems to be wrapped in this sort of like leather soft touch material. So they did not skip a beat on this cabin whatsoever, which you should expect at this particular price point. Now, also on this steering wheel over here, we have very familiar buttons. On the right-hand side, we have our heated steering wheel, adaptive cruise control. We also have steering assist on this particular car, which is a nice touch as well, in addition to a regular adaptive cruise control. And our left-hand panel here is a easy access for all our safety systems button, a nice scroll wheel for our volume knob, as well as these controls, which of course change depending on what menus you go to. And we have a favorite button, which I set up to be a quick toggle between the different menu views that you have on your digital cluster up here, but you can literally make this do whatever it wants. And I have it hard pressed to set. If I hold it, it will pull up the ambient lighting menu and our infotainment screen over here, so I don't have to dig through the menus to change the ambient lighting, which is kind of cool. Otherwise, I am obsessed with this cockpit. It's just an absolutely amazing space, and it gets even better because I love how the seating controls are on the doors and are covered in metal. We have 3 memory settings here, and I like how we have all these nice little easy to use buttons for our mirror controls here. Nothing's buried in this touch screens, and all the seating controls are just truly nuts. So if I just give that a little nudge there, it'll open up our lumbar adjustment. We have bolster adjustment, cushion adjustment. And if I tap this little menu here, it's going to go into the full seating panel, so I can adjust even more stuff for my driver or passenger seat up front here. We have seat heating adjustment, we have seat ventilation adjustment, and we have massage. So if I turn on my massage here, I have a whole different set of different programs to use, different directions I can have them in, their intensity, and it gets even crazier. So if I go all the way back to my main menu here, I can go to the body and soul function of the seats. So this one has a whole bunch of these speakers and kind of motors within the seats, and you can adjust 5 different levels of that to coordinate with your audio system. And if you would like, you can turn this on or off, or you can kind of coordinate this with the wellness programs in the vehicle, which is really cool. So you have all these different wellness style systems over here. You can adjust the volume, kind of wake you up or something on a long road trip, or relax you if you're having a stressful drive. Coming down to the center console area over here, it's just the one area where I think things could have been better, and they used to be. So they've gone away with all of the climate controls down here and shoved them into the PIVI infotainment system up here, which is the largest version of it you can currently get. And you know, it's okay. There's a lot of gloss black on the centerpiece. It actually feels incredibly solid and well built, and I love this gorgeous kind of that chrome galvanized trim on the side piece over here, which looks really nice. But I wish we still had some physical climate knobs in their place here. We have this really nice soft close and opening door here, which reveals a wireless charging mat, and a little bit of some felt line storage over here. Otherwise, we have this absolutely gorgeous center shifter here, which is ceramic. It's extremely cold to the touch. I may not be able to show it on camera, but it actually feels so wonderful to hold, even though it's very simple in its operation. Reverse neutral drive park. Of course, reverse will pull up our absolutely amazing 360 cameras in this vehicle, but you can always access those whenever you would like. We can do the full 3D mode, as we know, and we can use this while driving in Range Rover products. So if you are off-roading or somewhere where you need to have cameras on all the time, you can do so here. Lots of great stuff here, and we have a parking assist function, which is automatic, so you can have it just turn on as you just go up to a spot, and you can select different directions. It's actually really, really good. It's one of the better systems I've tested. Now, also in this center console space over here, we have a multi-layered center storage section. So this, again, gorgeous piece of this nice kind of satin carbon fiber. It says SV Edition 2 on it as well, and around this is all metal trim, which I can slowly push back, revealing 2 big cup holders. And I push that back again, and we have this colossal center console storage space over here, really deep center console storage over here, as well as the USB-C, and it's all felt lined, so it's not going to scuff anything up if you put it in there. We can pull our cup holders back, as well as our little cover over here, which looks absolutely gorgeous. Now, this center armrest over here is also fully stitched in leather, metal trim all around. Opening up this one, and we're going to get our fridge. So we have a cool box in this one that does have a 2-stage cooling function, and it gets very, very cold, and you can see it's on with this ambient light strip around it, which is a really cool touch. Otherwise, you can just use it for storage if you don't need to have, something being cooled in there. But it's nice to have that feature as well. Now, over here, of course, in typical Range Rover fashion, we have our 2 glove boxes. We can open our lower one like this. Pretty decent sized glove box. We have all this nice felt lining in here, which is nice. Again, this whole thing is wrapped in leather, and our upper portion over here also opens up to be felt lined. So this is all a nice felt lined storage space, and we get a 12-volt socket in there as well. Again, wrapped in leather and blends right nice in with the dash over here as well. Up in our upper portion over here, we're getting our clear sight rear view camera as well, but we can also use this as a regular camera with HomeLink integrated and a few different settings there. You can see again our nice micro suede headliner and our controls for our panoramic glass roof and sunshade. So this cabin, it again is just top tier. I can't get enough of it. Every single time I get in this vehicle, you feel special, and you have that commanding road view ahead of you as well, with really great visibility all around and a lot of different seating and driving position adjustments. And it's crazy to me that this is a Range Rover Sport and not the full-size Range Rover, which can get even nicer on the interior somehow. Otherwise, let's go take this thing for a drive and see how this wild Range Rover Sport SV handles out on the road. Off the bat, you can hear the door handles pulling in. We are driving on ice right now. It's pretty cold out and snowy today, so have to be a little bit more careful driving than usual. But this thing is just so smooth, so comfortable, and inside it is just an isolation pod of luxury. This is a Range Rover Sport after all, and even with this SV model being so focused on being such a high-performing vehicle, you have so many comfort features. You have rear wheel steering as well, so turning radiuses in this car are incredibly impressive. Automatic parking assist as well, so every time I just drive around, it's always looking for a parking space at low speeds. And even if you just pop it into reverse, it will find a space for you. I'm like, oh, you want to park there? I can help you do that. So that's a really nice, wonderful luxury touch here. We have auto brake hold as well as you can hear right now, the engine turned on and off with a 48-volt system. Makes it very easy and quick of a process there, so it doesn't really intrude on your experience. And we even have an exhaust button right here that you can always turn on and open to open up the baffles of this wild V8 exhaust sound in this vehicle, and it is truly a great experience. Now this thing is insanely fast. We do need to get some fuel, so we're not going to push it through too hard of a paces here, but we'll do a quick acceleration in this car in the dynamic mode. I found SV mode to be very aggressive for on-road driving. It really is meant for like a track almost level scenario here. We do have a launch control mode. There's also a multi-stage traction control system here, from regular traction or traction off. Just a quick taste of the insane launch capability of this car. It's pretty slippy out today, even with these all-season tires we have on here, which are standard. All the ice and snow, it's a little bit struggling for traction in some areas, but holy cow, does this thing get off the line. And once you pop it into these more aggressive modes, we also are getting a much more rear bias of this all-wheel drive system in this Range Rover Sport. So a lot more power is being sent out back. We have a staggered tire setup on this particular one as well, for a little more track-focused handling characteristics. Downshifts are pretty quick, actually. This thing is wild. Which is quite nice, actually. So the transmission's pretty responsive, I would say. There's also an S mode we can pop it into to make it even more aggressive. And that 6D suspension system keeps this car so well planted around corners. It is truly unreal. And the exhaust, you know, it is obviously nowhere near as loud as the 5-liter supercharged V8 once was, but it is not quiet. And it gets up to speed incredibly quickly, and you can pop it right back into drive whenever you need by just holding down the paddle shifter, take it out of S mode for the transmission, and you're on your way. And on the highway, if you pop it back into like adaptive or comfort mode, it's just so comfortable. Even with these 23-inch carbon fiber wheels, which, you know, helps to shave unsprung mass, the weight of the vehicle that's counted in that area, and the tire section, which, you know, helps to turn in, I guess, a little bit, and I guess shaves a little bit of weight. But even with those, you don't really have that much bumps and intrusion coming in here. It is a little bit stiffer noticeably than a regular Range Rover Sport, but it still is actually quite comfortable. And that adaptive hydraulic suspension part and the air suspension really work together to kind of balance that stuff out, while also keeping the vehicle very, very controlled. There's a lot of split personalities in that sense, which is a good thing. It's not always too stiff. Love that sound of that low-end V8 grunt from this vehicle as well. It's really, really pleasing. This thing is wicked fast. Now, out here on the highway, I do also want to talk about some of the comfort features we have in this car, because yeah, it is a high performer, but it also still is a luxury vehicle first at the end of the day, and it does definitely deliver on that front. So like I mentioned, out here on the highway, very quiet in here, lots of insulated glass. We have auto, you know, acoustics going on in here to kind of cancel out some sounds, but we also have some great driver assistance features, you know, blind spot, all that stuff. And some other great stuff is on the Range Rover products, we actually get steering assist. So not all the Jaguar Land Rover products typically get a steering assist function, but this one does. So all you have to do is turn on your adaptive cruise system right here, set our speed, and as you can see, we have a little steering wheel icon up here, and this is meant for highway use, but it is technically steering the vehicle. Now, most Land Rover products I've seen, specifically Defender or a Discovery, you're just going to get a lane keep assist function. So it's just going to pogo stick you in between the lane lines. It's not really going to keep you centered and steer around corners like this particular system is doing right now. Now, it's not a hands-off system, but as you can see, it is capable of doing this. It's going to start yelling at me to put my hands back on the wheel, but it is still steering itself around a corner. It's got a little more of a louder chime there, but that's pretty nice to see. It's a little bit more comfortable experience on a highway scenario. Also on the highway, we can have our heads-up display up here, which is showing us some information. If we are using the built-in navigation system or something such as Apple Maps, we'll get some turn-by-turn direction stuff over there. But as you can see on my digital cluster, it also shows Waze as displayed through Apple CarPlay. We'll also get the built-in navigation to show up here, as well as Apple Maps, which is cool. And we have a few different gauges to cycle through, from a full, gigantic map view, as well as a more relaxed view. Only in SV mode, though, do we get this wild center gauge cluster here. Whew, and some wild shifts. Paddle shifters turn red here for us as well. We get some really unique custom gauges, such as the boost pressure on here. We have some G-forces. The car lowers down, hunkers down as well. It really does transform the whole experience of this vehicle, but there's such an amazing split personalities of this car. It can be so comfortable and luxurious, so much more stiffer and aggressive and really on edge. It's really quite cool to see, and all that really is capable and possible thanks to this wild suspension system and setup on the car as well. But for the price tag, I think this car is generally quite worth it. You have to kind of consider some of the competition in this class now. This is up near Cayenne Turbo GT, Aston Martin DBX. We also are getting Bentayga. And, you know, a lot of these cars handle and perform well, but none can do it in this really high quality build level, and are able to do it in such where you can do high performance driving on a track. You can do off-roading if you want. You can do casual, really comfortable on-road driving, and does all those things well. Not all of those vehicles in this class can do all that stuff in a way where it's not, you know, 300, 400 grand at that rate. And at that point, you're not really going to want to take it in any of these scenarios. So this car, I think, makes a case for itself in a lot of those areas. It has the Range Rover status as well. And there's so many different additions and colors and options you can get with this to really customize it. And with this SV badge, you're not going to be getting just a run-of-the-mill Range Rover model. You're going to be getting this more exclusive Range Rover model. They don't build as many of these cars as they do with the regular vehicles as well. So you're really getting a much more premium, unique experience here. So in that regard, I think it's really impressive. Now, of course, I'm sitting here, I can get a massage, but we also have this really incredible Meridian surround sound audio system as well. So let's give that a test and see how that sounds. So we have this volume adjuster knob right here on the steering wheel, and honestly, it's quite needed because the only other way to adjust the volume in this vehicle is all the way over here, and you got to stretch to get it, and you got to scroll. It's almost like a passenger volume knob there, but I got to keep doing this. Otherwise, though, this is a really fabulous audio system, and I really have no complaints there whatsoever. But nonetheless, wrapping up this week here with the Range Rover Sport SV Edition 2, I can't say genuinely enough good things about this car. It's awesome. And again, as I mentioned in this whole review and drive, for the price point that this vehicle is at, it's absurd, but you got to look at some of the competitors here, and they also are even more expensive. And this does everything that those vehicles do in its own unique way, with its own tech, its own luxury focus, its own feature set. I kind of really like it. So really big kudos to Range Rover here. I really like what they're doing, and I know there's some more crazy stuff coming down the roads for these model lineups. They're really just getting started with this new generation of the SV brand. So definitely give this a considerable look. You know, this is an SV Edition 2 that has a lot of crazy upgrades on it that you don't even need to get a Range Rover Sport SV. So it could be had at a price very similar to a Defender Octa, which is in the 150, 160 range, even though this one with the carbon wheels and the carbon ceramic brakes is like, well, a little bit over 200 grand. You don't need all of that, so you can get a pretty good performing priced high performance luxury vehicle at a price point where there's a lot of competition, and this thing really does, I have to say, stand out amongst the crowd. As always, guys, as we set off in traffic, we'll pop back on our adaptive cruise control with the steering assist system here, and as always, stay tuned for more coming soon on Allcarnews. And thanks for joining us on this drive. Cheers.